Do you ever wake up in the morning, stretch your legs before getting out of bed, and feel like your muscles are just a little bit weaker, a little more tired, and noticeably stiffer than they used to be? Have you ever looked in the mirror and noticed that despite eating the exact same healthy breakfasts you have relied on for decades, perhaps a warm, comforting, traditional bowl of oatmeal, your strength seems to be quietly and mysteriously slipping away? Here is a deeply frustrating and often shocking truth that most people never hear from their primary care physicians. After the age of 60, you can lose anywhere from 3 to 8% of your total muscle mass every single decade in a condition known as sarcopenia. But the real tragedy is that your universally praised healthy breakfast might actually be actively accelerating this muscle loss. That morning bowl of oatmeal, long heralded by dietitians and health magazines as the ultimate gold standard of heart health and longevity, is secretly failing your muscles, leaving them essentially starved and breaking down during the most critical metabolic recovery window of your entire day. You see, what you are likely experiencing right now is not just the normal, inevitable process of getting older, and it is certainly not a lack of willpower on your part. It is a physiological phenomenon known as the anabolic gap. This gap is a silent, invisible window of time where your aging body desperately needs highly specific nutritional building blocks to repair tissue. But because of unseen, age-related changes in how your cellular machinery processes food, the typical American breakfast leaves you trapped in a state of continuous muscle breakdown. The culprit here is not your lack of effort or care. It is a hidden shift in your body's internal chemistry that makes your muscles fiercely resistant to the very same nutrients that used to keep you vibrant and strong in your 30s and 40s. But please, take a deep breath and do not worry, because today we are going to fix this problem together. I am going to walk you through a series of incredibly easy, highly effective, and rigorously science-backed steps to close this anabolic gap once and for all. We are going to transform your morning routine from a muscle-wasting habit into a muscle-building powerhouse so you can rebuild your foundational strength, fiercely protect your physical independence, and feel vibrant and capable once again. By the end of our time together today, you will know exactly how to feed your muscles to essentially reverse the clock on age-related physical decline. Before we dive into the fascinating microscopic science of how your muscles actually work, I want to ask you to consider subscribing to our channel and joining our growing family. We share the kind of deep, profoundly effective, science-backed senior health tips that doctors often overlook in a rushed 15-minute clinic visit. We are actively building a dedicated community of people who refuse to let a number on a calendar define their physical limits. So, to get us started and welcome you to the conversation, drop a quick comment down below and let me know, where in the world are you watching from today? And what is your current, honest, go-to breakfast? I absolutely love seeing where our incredible community is tuning in from around the globe, and reading about your daily routines helps us make even better videos for you. Our very first step to closing the anabolic gap requires us to look at the true biological engine of muscle growth, which is a powerful, essential little amino acid called leucine. I want you to imagine your muscle fibers as a sturdy brick wall that slowly and naturally crumbles just a little bit every single night while you are asleep. To rebuild that wall and make it strong again by morning, you do not just need a fresh pile of bricks scattered on the ground. You need a loud, authoritative foreman to blow a whistle and yell to the workers, "Start building right now." Leucine is that crucial foreman. But here is the unfortunate catch of getting older. As we cross our 60th birthday, our internal foreman goes a bit deaf, and he needs a much louder signal to wake up and do his job. A landmark, highly detailed study published in the prestigious American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults require nearly double the amount of leucine, specifically targeting around 2.5 to 3 grams per single meal, just to trigger the exact same biological rate of muscle protein synthesis that a healthy 20-year-old achieves with half that amount. This age-related cellular deafness is exactly what scientists call anabolic resistance. When you sit down and eat a bowl of plain oatmeal, you are getting an incredibly meager fraction of a gram of leucine. Because the dose is so incredibly low, your body never hears the signal to build, the foreman stays asleep, and the brick wall stays crumbled. You absolutely must swap that low-protein carbohydrate load for high-quality, bioavailable proteins. To fix this deafness and stimulate growth, try mixing a high-quality scoop of whey protein isolate directly into your morning oats, or perhaps have 3 whole pasture-raised eggs on the side, instantly hitting that 3-gram leucine threshold and finally waking up your muscle-building foreman. Moving right along to our next essential strategy, we have to look not just at what kind of food you eat, but exactly when and how you distribute that food throughout your day. The old traditional way of eating, which many of us grew up with, was to have a tiny piece of toast for breakfast, a modest little sandwich for lunch, and then a massive, heavy steak or chicken breast at dinner. But your beautiful, aging muscles simply do not work like a bank account where you can deposit all your daily protein at once and save it for later. Imagine trying to pour a massive, heavy gallon of water into a tiny, fragile teacup. A little bit stays in the cup, but the vast majority of it just spills uselessly over the sides and is completely wasted. Researchers at the University of Texas Medical Branch conducted a fascinating, tightly controlled clinical trial where they discovered that distributing protein evenly across 3 distinct meals, targeting roughly 30 grams of protein per meal, resulted in a staggering 25% greater overall muscle protein synthesis rate over a 24-hour period in older adults, compared to those who ate the exact same total amount of protein but hoarded the vast majority of it for dinner. When you skip your protein at breakfast and rely entirely on plain oats, your body actually spends the entire morning cannibalizing and tearing down your existing, hard-earned muscle tissue just to find the baseline amino acids it needs for basic organ function. To stop this morning muscle cannibalization in its tracks, you absolutely must balance your early plate. Ensure your breakfast contains a strict minimum of 30 grams of protein, perhaps by adding a generous serving of plain Greek yogurt or rich cottage cheese alongside your modified oats, to keep your muscles safely fed and protected from the very moment you wake up and put your feet on the floor. If you are finding these detailed insights eye-opening, and you are starting to see how much profound power you actually hold over your body's aging process, please take just 1 second to give this video a quick thumbs up. Hitting that like button is the absolute best way to help the YouTube algorithm share this crucial information with other seniors who might be struggling silently with unexplained muscle weakness and desperately need to hear this exact message today. Let us now turn our focused attention to what that plain, seemingly innocent bowl of oatmeal is actually doing to your blood sugar and your delicate insulin levels. It is true that oats contain healthy soluble fiber, but without a robust buffer of dense protein or healthy fats to drastically slow down the digestive process, those complex carbohydrates break down into simple sugars quite rapidly in your stomach. Picture your delicate blood vessels enduring a sudden, rushing flood of sweet, sticky water that recedes just as quickly as it arrived, leaving behind a damaging residue. This rapid spike in blood sugar causes an immediate, massive surge in insulin. But older adults frequently struggle with varying degrees of insulin resistance, which severely blunts the delivery of necessary nutrients right into the muscle tissue itself. A comprehensive study published in the widely respected journal Diabetes Care demonstrated clearly that older individuals with even mild, unmedicated insulin resistance experienced a devastating 40% reduction in their biological ability to shuttle essential amino acids from the bloodstream into their muscle cells when compared to seniors with perfectly stable, flat blood sugar profiles. This means your plain morning oatmeal is actively creating a massive metabolic traffic jam, aggressively preventing whatever little protein you did manage to consume from actually reaching the hungry muscles that need it. The actionable, life-changing step here is incredibly simple to implement. You must make a hard rule to never eat naked carbohydrates. Always, without exception, dress your morning oats or your breakfast fruit with a heavy handful of crushed walnuts, a thick tablespoon of chia seeds, or some natural unsweetened almond butter to completely flatten that dangerous blood sugar curve and keep the nutrient highways wide open, allowing protein to flow freely directly into your muscle cells. The next critical piece of our biological puzzle involves a hidden, silent mechanical issue deeply inside your digestive tract that almost nobody in the mainstream fitness industry talks about: the quiet, steady decline of your stomach acid. You can afford to buy and eat all the perfect, expensive, protein-rich organic foods in the world, but if your body fundamentally cannot break them down in the gut, those precious nutrients will simply pass right through you without ever doing their job. I want you to think of your stomach acid like a pair of sharp chemical scissors, perfectly designed by nature to aggressively snip long, incredibly complex protein chains into tiny, microscopic, easily absorbable individual amino acids. As we age, through absolutely no fault of our own, those biological scissors naturally get quite dull. According to groundbreaking research published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, up to 30% of all adults over the age of 60 suffer from a silent condition called atrophic gastritis, which severely and chronically reduces the natural production of powerful stomach acid and crucial digestive enzymes. This terrifying statistic means that even if you sit down and eat a beautiful piece of steak or a plate of eggs, you might physically only be absorbing a mere fraction of the life-saving nutrients you effortlessly absorbed back in your vibrant 30s. To safely and naturally sharpen those chemical scissors, try incorporating an incredibly simple, ancient habit right before your first meal of the day. Drinking a small glass of room temperature water mixed with just 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar about 15 minutes before you eat your breakfast can dramatically help stimulate your stomach's natural acid production, ensuring you actually break down and fully absorb the muscle-saving proteins you are so carefully eating. Let us briefly step away from the kitchen table for a moment and talk about what you physically do with your body immediately after you swallow your last bite of that morning breakfast. The typical, comfortable routine for so many of us is to finish the last drop of coffee, open the morning paper or a tablet, and just sit peacefully in a favorite chair to watch the morning news. But make no mistake, sitting completely still immediately after eating is the absolute enemy of muscle protein synthesis. I want you to vividly imagine your aging muscles as a sponge that has been left out on the counter and dried out. Unless you physically squeeze and dynamically manipulate that sponge with your hands, it simply will not soak up any of the water sitting in the bowl around it. Muscular contraction physically opens the cellular pathways for amino acids to quickly enter the muscle cells. A truly pivotal, game-changing study from the renowned Mayo Clinic revealed that older adults who engaged in just 10 short minutes of light, easy walking immediately after eating a protein-rich meal increased their muscle amino acid uptake by over 30% compared to the control group who remained entirely sedentary in their chairs. You absolutely do not need an exhausting, sweaty gym session or heavy weights to make this work. All you need to do is clear your breakfast dishes, put on a comfortable pair of walking shoes, and take a brisk, highly purposeful 10-minute stroll around your neighborhood block, or even just pace actively around the rooms of your house if the weather is poor. This incredibly simple, low-effort action acts exactly like a powerful biological vacuum, aggressively pulling the newly digested protein right out of your bloodstream and forcing it directly into the hungry muscle fibers that need it most to keep you strong. We are covering a tremendous amount of vital scientific ground today, and I deeply understand that trying to change lifelong, ingrained daily habits can feel a bit overwhelming and occasionally frustrating. But please remember, we are absolutely in this journey together, and you have so much more control than you have been led to believe. Take a deep, calming breath. You are doing a truly wonderful, proactive job just by being here, listening, and learning about your incredible body. If you have a dear friend, a sibling, or a beloved spouse who faithfully loves their plain morning oatmeal and complains about their knees or their energy levels, please consider sharing this video with them right now. Moving forward into our next concept, we must address an invisible, highly destructive fire burning silently inside your aging body that actively destroys your muscle tissue day in and day out. Chronic low-grade inflammation, a phenomenon frequently referred to in the modern medical community as inflammaging. Imagine a slow, smoldering electrical fire hidden deep inside the walls of your beloved home. You might never actually see the bright orange flames or smell the smoke, but the devastating structural damage to the wood is happening relentlessly every single day. This systemic body-wide inflammation constantly releases damaging proteins called cytokines that actively block the pathways of muscle protein synthesis and relentlessly promote the breakdown of your muscle fibers. A massive, comprehensive review of dozens of studies published in the prestigious Aging Research Reviews found a direct, undeniable correlation between high circulating levels of inflammatory markers in the blood, specifically C-reactive protein, and the aggressively accelerated loss of total muscle mass and physical grip strength in study populations over the age of 65. If your comforting morning routine includes highly processed foods, sugary bakery pastries, or hidden refined seed oils alongside your morning coffee, you are quite literally throwing buckets of gasoline directly onto that smoldering fire. The highly effective solution here is to intentionally introduce powerful, natural anti-inflammatory compounds to your morning routine. Swap out the refined white sugar in your coffee for a generous, warming sprinkle of Ceylon cinnamon, and heavily consider adding a massive handful of fresh, deeply colored blueberries to your newly modified, high-protein Greek yogurt bowl. Blueberries are absolutely packed with incredibly potent antioxidants called anthocyanins that act exactly like tiny cellular fire extinguishers, aggressively dampening systemic inflammation throughout your entire body and fiercely protecting your hard-earned muscle tissue from being burned away. Next up on our physiological checklist is a biological factor so incredibly basic, so deeply fundamental, that it is almost universally ignored by modern diet plans and expensive fitness gurus: deep intracellular hydration. As we gracefully age, our brain's natural thirst mechanism naturally dulls and degrades, meaning you can easily be clinically, dangerously dehydrated at a cellular level without ever once feeling the sensation of a dry mouth or feeling the urge to drink. Think of your beautiful, complex muscle cells exactly like grapes on a vine. When they are properly, deeply hydrated, they are plump, firm, highly resilient, and fully capable of functioning at an incredibly high metabolic level. When they become dehydrated, they quickly shrivel up into tiny, hard raisins, and a shriveled raisin simply cannot effectively synthesize new protein or contract with any real physical power. A highly specific study published in the widely read European Journal of Applied Physiology highlighted the terrifying fact that even a remarkably mild cellular dehydration of just 2 measly % can significantly and measurably blunt the vital hormonal signals required for muscle growth and physical repair in older adult populations. When you wake up after a long, restorative 7 or 8 hours of sleep, you are waking up in a naturally, profoundly dehydrated state, simply from breathing. If the very first thing you do upon waking is stumble to the kitchen and drink a powerful diuretic like a strong cup of black coffee, you are aggressively pulling even more precious moisture out of those already shriveled raisin cells. To permanently fix this issue, you must adopt the non-negotiable habit of morning prehydration. Before your coffee ever touches your lips, and well before your breakfast, you must drink one very tall, refreshing glass of water mixed with a tiny, almost unnoticeable pinch of natural sea salt to rapidly replenish your lost electrolytes. This astoundingly simple daily act immediately swells your muscle cells back into plump grapes, perfectly preparing them to readily and hungrily accept the protein and nutrients you are about to consume. Finally, to complete our protocol, let us deeply discuss the incredibly crucial role of a specific nutrient that acts as the literal, physical key to unlock your muscle cells and let the protein inside: vitamin D. For decades, we have strictly associated vitamin D entirely with calcium absorption and bone health. But modern science has revealed that your muscle fibers are absolutely covered in tiny, highly sensitive vitamin D receptors. Without adequate, optimized levels of this pro-hormone in your blood, your muscles simply cannot physically contract with any real power, nor can they efficiently rebuild the micro tears that occur from daily movement. I want you to imagine having all the best building materials delivered, having the Leucine foreman wide awake and yelling, but realizing the massive steel gate to the construction site is padlocked shut. A truly fascinating gold standard clinical trial published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that older individuals who successfully corrected their clinical vitamin D deficiency saw a profound, life-altering 20% physical improvement in the size of their fast-twitch muscle fibers, which are the exact, specific muscle fibers entirely responsible for catching yourself when you trip, preventing catastrophic falls, and maintaining your overall physical balance. Since it is virtually incredibly difficult to get enough vitamin D from a standard diet alone, and our aging skin becomes significantly less efficient at synthesizing it directly from the sun as the decades pass, you absolutely must take deliberate action here. Make an appointment to talk to your doctor about explicitly checking your blood levels, and strongly consider taking a high-quality vitamin D3 supplement right alongside your breakfast, strictly ensuring you eat it with some healthy dietary fats like a slice of avocado or your egg yolks, since vitamin D is heavily fat-soluble and completely requires the presence of dietary fat for your body to actually absorb it into your system. We have journeyed together through quite a bit of heavy, fascinating science today, and I am so incredibly proud of you for sticking with me. But the core underlying message is beautifully and wonderfully simple. Your morning routine is the absolute foundational launchpad for your daily and long-term health. To summarize our actionable steps, we are firmly and permanently leaving behind the plain, naked, carbohydrate-heavy bowl of oatmeal that wildly spikes your blood sugar and silently starves your muscles of amino acids. Instead, we are proactively aiming for a robust 30 grams of high-quality, bioavailable protein to shatter the anabolic resistance barrier and easily hit that crucial foreman-waking leucine threshold. We are intelligently supporting our aging digestion with a little splash of apple cider vinegar, moving our bodies with a brief, purposeful walk right after we eat to forcefully drive those nutrients home. Actively fighting the fires of inflammation with deeply colored berries, thoroughly hydrating our cells with salted water before we touch our coffee, and finally, unlocking our muscle receptors with adequate vitamin D. These changes are absolutely not massive, exhausting, overwhelming lifestyle overhauls that require a personal chef or hours in a gym. They are remarkably small, highly intelligent, science-backed tweaks to your existing daily habits that work in beautiful, perfect harmony with your aging, resilient biology. I desperately want you to remember, deep in your heart, that your body is incredibly, phenomenally resilient. The nagging morning aches, the slight feeling of weakness when you climb the stairs, the afternoon fatigue, these things do absolutely not have to be an inevitable, inescapable part of getting older. You hold the profound, undeniable power to dramatically change the narrative of your health every single time you pull out a chair and sit down at the breakfast table. By feeding your muscles exactly what they biologically need to thrive, you are not just building physical, muscular strength. You are actively building the vital stamina to play joyfully with your grandchildren for hours, the sturdy balance to walk through the world without a shadow of fear, and the profound, enduring, beautiful joy of true, lifelong physical independence. Remember that knowledge is only truly power when you physically apply it to your life, and you now possess the exact scientific blueprint to fiercely protect your vitality for decades to come. I would absolutely love to hear which of these incredibly simple, small changes you are going to bravely try first tomorrow morning. So please, let me know your thoughts and your plans in the comments down below. If you found real, actionable value in our shared time together today, please take a moment to give this video a like and deeply consider subscribing to the channel because your health, your strength, and your beautiful independence are absolutely, without question, worth fighting for every single day. Until next time, my friends, please stay strong, keep moving with purpose, and always treat your incredible body with the profound respect and care it so deeply deserves.